Hello and welcome to part 9 in chapter 5. This is the final part of this chapter, and the final part we've got to work on is getting a little interact message to appear when we go up to keys and doors. So a little message will appear here saying to the player to interact with it, and same goes for doors to tell the player they can interact with it as well. These messages are important because we need to make sure we're telling the player what they can and can't do. So let's get working on that. Now to do this can be part of the HUD. So I'm going to go into the head-up display, and in here we're going to create the message to be displayed. So find the text component and drag that into your canvas panel. We want to select it, and we're going to anchor it to the center of the screen. Reset its position X and position Y, and change its alignment to 0.5 and 0.5. It will now appear dead center of the screen. However, let's put it towards the bottom. So position Y, we're going to change a little bit and just put it just below the center point there. Don't do it too low because we want the player to focus on what they're looking at, and that what message we want to stay there. So that text block there is going to be changing based on what we're actually doing for opening door or picking up a key. So we need to make that a variable to change over time. So with it selected, go to your details panel and change its name to interact message, and tick the is variable button. With that currently selected, we also want to change its justification of its text to be center justified. If we want to change any other settings, we can do, such as its size. I'm going to do 32 in its size, and click compile. Next, what we're going to do is going to go into the graph. And in the graph, we're going to set up a couple of things here. We're going to set up a new variable. So go to variables and click new variable. And we're going to call this one message. And this variable type is going to be a text. With that, we're also going to make another custom event. So right click custom event. And this one's called update message. And the update message is going to take the interact message variable that we just made, which is get, and we want to set the text of that to equal the message. So now when we call update message, the text here will change to whatever this value is set in our variables. By default, it'll be blank. However, we also want to tell it not to show all the time. We only want it to show when we want it to show. So update message is going to handle that by changing the message to be blank or not. Click compile, and we can close that. So if I push play, you'll notice that the text block is there in the center. So to get started, at the start of the game, where we're doing the update skulls and update health on the construct, we're also going to do the update message. Now if you compile it and play, the message won't be visible because that value is still default at nothing. So now we want that value to change when we are in range of picking up our key. So let's do that for our key. In our key platform, we'll have the option for when we are beginning the overlap. When we're doing that, we want to tell the message to update in our heads-up display. So right click, get game mode, cast to maze game mode, and plug that in. And then from there, we can get the HUD for the heads-up display. And from there we can set the message. And here we can type in whatever message we want. Press E to pick up key. Hit compile. We also want to do exactly the same for the disabled input, so the end overlap. So again, give myself some space, move that around. And I'm just going to copy what we just did there with Control C, and paste with Control V. This time the message is going to be blank, so select all that and delete it. After we set the message, we now need to call that update message. So from the heads up display reference, we'll drag this out and go update message. And that must go after we set the text of the message. Again, give myself loads of space. From there, update message. Compile and go play. And there we have our message gone up. But I don't want the message to always appear. I only want it to appear when there's a key there to pick up. So let's check if we have actually got a key there. So before we do all this, press E to pick up key. We want to do a check to see if the key is still there. Again, I need some space here. Let's put this above. Like so. And if we have got the key not there, we're going to drag the key component out, and then we're going to check if it's valid. And you want the one with the question mark. If it is valid, we then carry on to show the message. If it's not valid, it will do nothing. Hit compile. So now when we pick up the key, it will no longer show if the key is not there. But once we pick up the key, you'll notice the message remains there until we walk away. So quite simply, all we have to do is take the code from our end overlap, copy that with Control C, Control V, and at the end when we update the skulls, we're going to drag this out and update the message as well. Close that and we're done with the key platform. The other thing that's going to be showing that interactive message is the door. So go to your door, and this is going to be very much the same sort of setup. So what I'm going to do is going to move that down like so, open up my key platform, and I'm just going to copy a lot of the code that we've got here. So let's just click and drag all this and copy and paste that at the end. This time it's not push E to pick up key, it's to open door. Next, we'll do it again for the end overlap. And this message is going to be blank. So with the begin overlap, we also want to do a check whether or not the door is actually open. Now to do that, we're going to go over to our timeline that we've got where the door is opening. And on it you'll see finished. When it's finished, we want it to tell the door is actually open. So we can go into new variables and create a new variable and call it is open. We then want to drag that out and choose set and plug it into finished and tell it to be true. Hit compile. Then we want to go over to our begin overlap, sorry, and we want to check whether or not that variable is true or false. So drag is open over, get is open, and we want to check if that is true or false for a branch. If it is false, it will carry on with the rest of the code as normal. However, if it's already open, we don't want it to do anything. Secondly, I also want it to change the text based on whether or not the player has a key available or not. If they don't have a key, we need to tell the player that they need a key to open the door. So let's go and check the player for a key. So as player character, get player character, we're going to cast that to the player character. Again, give myself some space. as player character, we can get number of keys. If number of keys is greater than 0, this will go into a branch. If it's greater than 0, it'll carry on with the rest of the code. However, if it is not greater than 0, so we have no keys, we then want to change the message. So I'm going to copy the game mode cast and the rest of it. Control Z and Control V, paste it in. And this time I'm going to change the message here, say door requires a golden skull key. Click compile. So now let's go and test that in the game. Push play, go up to the door. Door requires a golden skull key. Push to pick up the key, open the door, and there it goes. Now similarly, once we've pushed the key to open the door, we want that message to disappear. So like we did with the key platform, we're going to call this same code that we've got on the end overlap. Here, Control C, and at the end, when we do is open, we're going to paste that there to match. And now we are done. And that's it. We are now done creating user interface widgets for our game. This has been quite a lengthy chapter, but hopefully you've followed along just fine. In this chapter, we've covered quite a lot. We first of all started work on our heads-up display, creating our icons for our health and the number of keys we currently have. We then started work on our lose screen, so that when we lost all our lives, it showed a lose screen, giving us the option to retry the level or quit the game. We then worked on our win screen, so when we reached the end of the maze and hit the platform, we would then get shown a win screen, asking us to proceed to the next level or return to the main menu. We then worked on that main menu itself, showing us a different map to use as a main menu and getting it to use with different buttons there to either continue a game, start a new game, or return and quit the game. And then finally, we created an interact message, a message that shows on the screen instructing the player what to do to pick up keys and open doors. Thanks very much for watching. Join us in the next chapter, in chapter 6, where we start working on sounds and music. Thanks very much, and I'll see you in next time. Thank you very much for watching this episode. If you like what I do and you want to see more content before anyone else, please consider supporting me for at least $1 over on patreon.com/RyanLaley. For just $1, you can get access to all these videos early before anyone else, sometimes well ahead of anyone else. And I'll take this moment to say a big thank you for all my supporters so far in supporting me in making this channel content. Wouldn't be doing this without you guys, so a big thank you to all of you. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.